Well, what is wisdom? Wisdom is a personification. It's a she. It's Lady Wisdom. You have such a thing in language, in the Bible and outside of it, where you treat something as if it were a person. It's not actually. So wisdom is Lady Wisdom, and it depends on whether you take the Septuagint, created, or if you take the Hebrew, gained or achieved, one of the other words, not necessarily created. You could take the Septuagint, but there's a dispute about kana in the Hebrew, acquired, all sorts of possibilities. But relax. Wisdom is the wisdom of God, personified. God got that wisdom. He acquired it to make everything. That's not a problem for me. To suggest that that is Jesus pre-existing as Son of God is really bizarre for me. That's Lady Wisdom. She's laid her table, it says in Proverbs. She, it's a female, a personification, not to be confused with an actual person. Same thing with John 1:1. In the beginning was the Word, little w, not a capital W. At my site, you can see an article where 50 translations render John 1. In the beginning was the Word, all things were made through it. You can look it up on the 50 translations on John 1, right at our site. It's not obvious to me that it's in the beginning was a capital W. Why are people putting a capital W on there? That's just wrong, because that word, davar in Hebrew, logos in Greek, occurs hundreds of times, 1,600 times or something in the Old Testament. Never, ever is it a capital W. So that's what somebody called the curse of the capital. You're being misled there by your translators to say that it's supposed to mean in the beginning was the Son of God. Don't say that. Nor does it ever say that Jesus went back to the Father. Your NIV says that. That's just wrong. There's a vast difference between going back to England and going to England. So watch out for the NIV, very Trinitarian, very wrong in some places. NASB is much better, much fairer. King James is archaic. I wouldn't read it. And very bad in 1 John 5:7, where it states a sort of Trinitarian verse, which everybody knows now is a corruption.
I would recommend a book by Haidt, Jesus, Symbol of God. Wisdom, Word, and Spirit, which are found in the Jewish scriptures and refer to God, are not hypostatizations or persons.
Not persons.
But personifications. Personification is a figure of speech in which the symbol is consciously or deliberately treated or spoken of as a person.
That's exactly right.
Proverbs 8 contains a clearly intended personification of God's intelligence or wisdom as a pre-existent person and agent of God. As a figure of speech, it does not intend that wisdom is a distinct or discrete entity or being.
Well, thank
and
you.
Then he goes on to talk about the major development, as he calls it, of how we went from a personification to actual person or a second person in the Godhead.
That's exactly right. And we're very happy to have the support of a good Roman Catholic scholar in that regard.